Bamiyan's sleeping Buddha. To Dr. Tarzi, it's unsurprising that the monastery is rich with Buddha's sculptures. This region was one of the first in which Buddha was represented in human form.
Before that time in India, Buddha had been represented by symbols, footprints, a tree. It's because of Greek influence that Buddha is represented as a human, because the Greeks were already attributing male or female traits to Zeus, Aphrodite, Venus, and Athena.
In Afghanistan, this Greek influence dates from Alexander the Great's invasion around 330 BC. The conqueror established cities and left behind garrisons of soldiers in what's now Afghanistan and Pakistan. When Buddhism spread westward from India in the centuries that followed, it was met here by descendants of Alexander's armies. They had a taste for depicting their gods in human form.
The hair imitates the hair that you find on Greek statues, the Greek profile as well. It is said that the image of the Buddha was influenced by the image of Apollo. Look here. The nose is an extension of the forehead, which is typical of the Greek profile. The wide open eyes and the very natural mouth are also part of the Greek conception.
These remarkable busts may be all the treasure Dr. Tarzi discovers this year. He's mere days away from the end of the digging season, and still no sleeping Buddha. And now it's time for his daughter Nadia to return to her home in the United States.
I don't think my father will be discouraged if he doesn't find the Buddha this year.
I'm not disappointed. I'm patient. You have to look at this as if you were from the outside, because otherwise you will burn out.
The archaeologist is resigned. Then something amazing happens.
Let's go look at the surprise, the big discovery. We found 2 meters of painted clay laid out horizontally. It's part of something of considerable size. You see, I had been thinking about going back to France and finishing the report on this year's dig. But this changes everything.
What Dr. Tarzi has found may be the foot of the sleeping Buddha of Bamiyan.
This large piece is bothersome because it corresponds with what we are looking for. It's not really bothersome. It's wonderful. But the fact that we are finding it at the end of this year's excavations is bothersome.
Significantly, the supposed foot is right where it should be, near the monastery's western side. By tradition, sleeping Buddhas are aligned with their feet pointed west and their heads east. The architecture Dr. Tarzi has uncovered fits what would be required to support a massive object oriented this way. A Buddha on the edge of nirvana, embodied in a form 1,000 feet long. Working quickly, Tarzi and his team expose paint adorning the mysterious mound. A chemical solution heightens the colors. But now the archaeologist is on the brink of a painful decision. Should he continue excavating the supposed foot, or cover it and resume his search next year? Some of Afghanistan's cultural warriors don't have to wait to savor the fruits of their devotion. At Afghan Films, the National Film Archive, a cast of heroes takes in a show of treasures once thought lost. When the cultural legacy of Afghanistan came under attack, its vast archive of historic films became even more important. That's because many Afghan treasures now exist solely as images captured on celluloid. Yet the Taliban set out to destroy even this, the archive of Afghan films. What they didn't anticipate was that the archive staff was willing to die to stop them.
We were very upset when the minister of the Taliban brought the order to burn the films. We felt our hearts pounding. We became emotional.
Here, they burned the films here. We have the evidence. They burned them in front of me. That day, it was like a dearest friend is being killed in front of you. That day was the darkest and hardest day for us. You plant a tree to collect its fruit. We worked for our people to have the archive, and they burned it.
I became irrational. I decided to throw myself and the Minister of Information and Culture into the fire with the films. At that moment, one of my colleagues grabbed me and stopped me.
But the Taliban didn't know that the staff had handed over film prints, which can be replaced, and not negatives, which cannot. When the prints ran out, the filmmakers knew the negative archive would go into the flames.
We all had the same idea, that we had to preserve the archive of Afghan film at any price, even by paying with our lives.
But how to hide the main archive, some 2,900 rolls of irreplaceable negatives? Their plan was simple.
Come on, come on.
They hid the archive by hiding the room.
In order for no one to notice the door, we installed wallboard from here to the ceiling to here.
With the help of an electrician, we also disabled the lighting system so that the wall was darkened.
Dozens of times, religious police walked past the fake wall, never suspecting the room beyond. The rescuers' lives were safe as long as the ruse held.
The Taliban told us that even if a small piece of film was found, we will hang you or shoot you in the ditch where the archive was burned.
The Taliban minister said, if we find another film here, we will burn it along with you.
Month after month, the staff sweated through surprise inspections and the Taliban's insatiable demand for films to burn. Their countrymen assumed the archive was lost. But when at last the Taliban fell, the archive's rescuers brought the negatives out of hiding. Hailed as heroes, they shrugged off the acclaim. But they saved their Taliban-era IDs as mementos of a time when they would have given their lives for the art they love.
Even if we lost our heads, it would have been an honor and privilege. But we didn't allow our heritage to be destroyed. Why? A country which has no culture has no history.